Hello modelers, welcome to another video. Today we will introduce the most iconic fighter plane of all time. Of course, many of you have already guessed that this is a Lockheed Martin F-16. In our case, an F-16 CJ Block 50. Tamiya produced the kit in 2014. In 2015, they added new parts. This is a full equipment kit. It includes missiles and external fuel tanks. I feel like this is the first 1:72 scale airplane model on my channel. After all the big models, this kit was very small and cute. As always, Tamiya has done an excellent job on the details of the model. Everything is perfect and fits together beautifully. Fun fact, according to statistics, 70% of viewers have already left the video at this point. Thank you for still watching. The ejection seat is simpler, but the pilot will be sitting on it, so it doesn't matter at all. There is no shortage of detail in the cockpit, but none of it will be visible, thanks to the pilot and the glass, which I spray orange. I used a paintbrush for all the cockpit painting. To highlight the details on the black background, I used a wash of white oil and Zippo lighter fluid. I painted the suit of our heroic fighter with Tamiya X F-58 acrylic paint. Ready for takeoff? Good pilot, good. Quite nicely done undercarriage shaft. And I almost forgot. I used Tamiya extra thin glue for gluing. See how it fits? Buy a Tamiya model, cut out the pieces, put them in a box, add glue. Shake the box and the finished model will fall out. Haha. I'm cutting the wings again. I have all my fingers, so I'm celebrating success. The model will be shown in takeoff, so I need to get the wings into takeoff configuration. The fit of the pieces is really very beautiful. The depiction of full engine thrust and the red-hot nozzle could really be better. But again, this is a detail that will not be visible because it will be deep in the fuselage of the aircraft where the eye cannot reach. Oops, gravity is relentless. Are you still here? Subliminal information is telling you, subscribe now, or at least like or comment, or everything. Just a little further, and it's there. Tamiya also designed the engine intake very nicely. My least favorite activity, working with the landing gear. Don't you like this phase too? Leave a comment. Finishing the last details. Oh my God, still the front wheel? Now I'm going to put the weapon mounts there. Now I want to glue the elevators. For the model in takeoff, I will raise the nose of the aircraft and fix the rudder in the position of the control stick pulled. Assembly of missiles and external fuel tanks. There is an unsightly dividing line in the cabin. I will remove it with the help of sandpaper and Tamiya polish. According to the reference photo of the actual machine I'm building, the cabin glass is orange. I used a combination of clear paints and Tamiya gloss paint. I polished it again with Tamiya polish compound. Time to glue the cabins. As always, painting an aircraft starts with masking the cockpit. I use Tamiya paper masking tape for this purpose. It is good to have a sharp scalpel for cutting. A dull knife will cause fine hairs or deformation of the tape. We spray the area around the cabin with black paint. This will create the effect of painting the inner frame of the cabin. As a base color, I always use white Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500. Black basing is not a bad method, but it doesn't suit me. But anyone who follows me regularly certainly knows that. In this phase, which is the spraying of the basic shades, I intentionally made a mistake and did not follow the manufacturer's instructions. Tamiya has a classic confusion in shades for different types of paints, and since I use acrylic paints, which Tamiya does not mention in the instructions, because it describes spray paints and the converter failed, I decided to use my own head and color sense. I looked at the color guides from other manufacturers, and they all differed in some way. Looking at the USAF F-16 reference photos, I found that each aircraft had a different color, and my head almost exploded from the confusion. So I looked into my magic paint cabinet and chose Tamiya XF19 as the lighter shade and Mr. Hobby H69 as the darker shade. Whoever doesn't like it is out of luck, or give it a dislike. Ha ha ha. Back to the plane and painting. I don't do any pre-shading on the underside of the model, and I only give very subtle hints of post-shading. Normally, I shade planes, maybe a bit too much, but again, when I saw reference photos of a particular plane, it was in excellent color condition. For this reason, I put my shading imagination to sleep. Masking tape. Back in action. A good tip. Stick the tape to your palm a few times to make it lose its stickiness. You won't rip off the paint when you remove the tape. The first tip is worth a like. For a smooth and blurred color transition, I use tacket material. I have already used pre-shading for the upper part of the aircraft. However, only with the same camouflage color and again, very lightly. I just enjoy it. I couldn't resist, but the result is very subtle, almost illegible. The unmasking went well. The paint didn't come off anywhere. 3 times the glory. Mixing this shade was also fun, but the number of colors and the ratio of shades is a secret. Just kidding, I don't remember it. But I remember this well. I sprayed Extreme Metal AK-476 on a black base. Good old handwork. We fixed the color with Tamiya X22 clear glossy varnish. If you are not a skilled modeler and do not know why, the second piece of advice will cost you a click on subscribe. The next stage will be decals. They need a shiny and smooth base for their perfect adhesion to the surface. They would be silver on matte. Not to praise Tamiya, their decals are as hard as a board. It takes more time and effort to soften them, but the result is very good. To remove the decal from the paper, I use warm water, and as a settling and softening solution, I use Tensol from Agama or Mr. Mark Softer Neo. We fixed the decals with the same glossy varnish as last time. Wash. In my case, oil paint mixed with lighter fluid, highly diluted. It perfectly changes and emphasizes the optical depth of the model and the paneling. Using capillary forces, forgive the physicist, it flows into the joints and corners. Then we let it dry for about 15 minutes, and we can wash it off with a wet brush or paper towel. The technique is not complicated, but it requires practice. Fun fact, I never use black to highlight the paneling. I always mix it with brown and dark green. But for this F-16, the black wash seemed to work best for me. There's a first time for everything. If you like the video, please subscribe or like or leave a comment. Or nothing, I'll leave it up to you. I'm glad you're still on this video. Third coat, Tamiya X35 Semi-Gloss Clear. We are slowly getting to finish. Unmasking the cabin, the absolute most horrible part of every plane I've ever flown. Dirt under the glass, cracked cabin, loose seat, smoked glass, scalpel mark, glue residue, grease from the tape. None of that happened this time. Ugh. What are your experiences with surprises under the tape on the cabin? Write to me. We'll add a little condensed dirt loose in the direction of the flight. In some areas, even vertically in the direction of the rain. Again, I repeat myself, but the specific machine according to the photos is clean, so I can't overdo it. For this effect, I use oil paint again. Now more of different shades of brown, but black also has its place. Then I drag the paint with a wet brush and lighter fluid in the direction I need. For a slight lightening of some areas, I use white oil paint. But be very careful with white because it is very intense and can lighten too much and unwantedly. It's time to make the runway. I cut the paper template with a scalpel. I apply PVA glue to the entire surface of the prepared extruded polystyrene board. Then I stick the paper on. I can go for a beer because the glue should dry by the next day. The PVA glue reacted with the ink from the inkjet printer, and our runway turned an ugly green. But that doesn't bother me at all because I had intended to spray paint the paper template so it wouldn't look so printed. I will use Tamiya tape again to mask the edges. For the white paint spray, I used white Mr. Surfacer. For the asphalt color, I used a mixture of grays and black. I drilled holes in the wheels and inserted a solid wire. I fixed the wheels into a base of the correct size so that the landing gear could be installed in them. I will raise the front landing gear to the desired position. I use super glue and firmly glue the wheels and chassis leg together. So I'm done. Did you like the video? Here are the final photos. If you've watched this far, you're one of the 18% of people who finished watching my video. Thank you very much for that, and I appreciate your interest. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for today.